Click on record.
That's how you know we're recording in progress.
Recording. Recording in progress. This meeting is being recorded. Why does it have to announce it that way? I'm just like,
So you don't get naked in a Zoom call, and then we have to
why
worry
is it
about
why does it
legal.
have to be aggressive,
Mhm.
Rob?
I don't know. Why does Alexa sound aggressive sometimes? It just comes off like, what weather would you like to know about? I'm like, I would like to know the weather in my town. It's like, what's the town? It's like, okay.
Yo, can we talk about that little device that's in everyone's house, the Amazon thing? I don't even see her name because like she'll bug out over there. But all of a sudden, I didn't even call a name, just just like normal circumstances. And then all of a sudden, oh, I don't know what that means, blah blah. Like who the hell told you?
Before we
Like
get
who was
rolling,
listening?
I know we're already rolling, but your mic is now quieter than it was before. I think you did
My
something.
mic is now quieter.
Yeah.
All right, give me 1 second.
This is the technology that we live in. And iPhones, I
You
just
know
got an
what it is.
update the other day and it said you must update this iPhone update to use your iPhone anymore. I'm like, don't I fucking pay for the phone? And I'm now you're telling me I can't use it unless I update to your server. And it's now like apparently some apps are somehow finding a way to be able to track you without the permission. So now
That's
Apple's
true.
making it so they're the only one that can do that.
Well, what kind of phone do you have? Let me ask you that.
I have an iPhone.
No, no, sorry. Which version of the phone do you have?
Oh, Jesus, I don't know, like a 6 or a 7.
Wow, you're still from on a 6 era. Okay, so
Don't
they're
say
on
wow. They
the.
make 2 a
I'm
year.
just saying, bro. They make like six a year. They're
Yeah,
they're
so
pretty
I'm
fucking
not
insane.
I'm not that far back.
Actually, you are. iPhone 6 was like 2015
I would get a better
ish.
phone if like the people at Verizon weren't such a pain in the ass. I
I
get it,
can
they
I
hate
can
their
fucking look it
job,
up for you right now.
but it's like 2
iPhone
hours of
6.
just BS.
When did that shit come out? Hold on, I got you right now. iPhone 6. 2014, my guy.
Oh, maybe it's a 7. This I'm pretty sure it's a 7. It's pretty big.
Okay.
All I know
they're
is it
at they're at 13 right now, Rob.
Well, no, when I look when it starts getting to $700 a phone, I'm like, I just want something. I'm actually trying to limit my phone's been kind of really funky since this update. I think it starts to crash, and I was wondering why I was crashing so much after this update. And it said that when it starts to crash is because it's trying to find the update's trying to stop them from tracking you, so it just shuts down the whole app. So like my Facebook will
Really?
crash, my Instagram will crash, all these things will crash, and I'm trying to limit my time on social media. I'm trying to like find myself and shit. And it's
Uh-huh.
not easy.
No, it definitely isn't. I guess it depends on what kind of work you do. So at the kitchen, like I have no time at all. When I'm at work, if you can text me, sure, I'll probably get back to you. But phone calls or going on socials, no, no fucking time at all. I'm just full on prepping, cooking, and then by service, by the time I get out, it's like 10 o'clock. Then I'll have time, like okay, and I'll look at stuff and etc. But I don't generally check my phone. Like if you have to text me, like if you call me, I will ignore it. I don't have time for to
Well,
sit there and be like, oh, by the way, I'm cooking.
you specifically are in a niche group, which is you are an influencer. Believe it or not, you are a chef influencer. Now here's the thing: is when we look at now, I don't think everyone's going to be taking to the skies or taking to social media when you go missing, like everyone has been doing with
Uh,
some of these influencers. I will. I'll go on social media. I'll tweet all day. I'll say I'm looking for Casey. Last we saw him, he was doing a TikTok with a jacket and he needed pockets, and now he's missing. I think his wife might have did it. But like for food influencers, and now I'm starting to realize there's a niche category. Like influencers back in the day used to just be major people that would just do travel stuff. And then now it's kind of
mhm,
branched off into now there's food influencers like yourself, there's social media influencers, there's comedian influencers, there's actors, there's everything is a niche group now. With the chef one, it's a very small niche category. So it's a
oh,
lot
super
easier.
small.
It's easier to be an influencer in that than being an influencer in like podcasting because now you got to look at the main influencers, which would be like a Joe Rogan or someone like that, because
I got you.
it's a bigger market. But I mean, it's still an influencer though. So you come up with all the
Mhm,
new TikTok trends. It's all about creating content. It's all about, and you kind of give a easier perspective for a lot of people when they're not
mhm.
involved in the kitchen, which I think is pretty important.
It definitely is. I think I guess to each their own. Like in terms of, I guess the the only thing we can compare it to is like the followers account, right? The follower number rather. So I'm at that, like, I'm just a little above 3,000, which is nothing to scoff at, right? I don't really care about viewership or follower counts or anything. The only time I will care about it is so I can transition into just making content. So just cooking stuff, and then I get paid for it as a professional. However, when we're talking about my peers, however, they have like hundreds of thousands, even millions, and those are like, I want to say, the top influencers, but more often than not, they don't really make that much either. And it all depends on how really much they want to succeed. Like I know a couple of, I hate saying the word fucking influencers, but I know a couple of content creators in the chef world that have like 1,500,000, 1,600,000, barely making like 30 a year. So that's pretty crazy in perspective. And I'm like, what exactly are you doing? If I had that amount, I would be making, I don't know. I think in my opinion, I could easily break 100, 120K. Like I'm treating it as a job. For them, I think that's the next level that they want to cross over, trying to branch out their content, making actual money, not just doing it just for video's sake. You always have to think about it as a business, I think.
Well, it's
I
a
don't know.
mind game too. The more followers you have, the more people will automatically just want to follow you because of your following that you
Mm-hmm.
have. It's like kind of hopping on like the bandwagon of things too. So like it's just
Mm-hmm.
about grinding for that content or grinding whatever it takes for you to build up that, which could take 10, 15, 20, 25 years. But then once
Yeah.
you get it, it's like, oh my God, I don't even remember the pain of trying to grind to the top. Like for instance, like arm wrestling or in the chef world, there are a couple names
Mm-hmm.
you could toss out that are own the market in it, and it seems like it's impossible to break through it because they probably worked at it for so long and they hit a trend or a rise or someone caught their content, and next thing you know, it became this thing where now they're the main faces of that industry. Anthony Bourdain is one, for instance. I mean, there was a
Oh
lot
yeah.
of people that respected him who knew him, but not a lot of people knew about him until after his death. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's very correct. Also, slight tangent. Can we just talk about your on-brand merch right now on the screen for everybody aware? He's rocking the Auto Blank T-shirt. Why don't I have one, Rob? What's going on, bro?
Because you're
I
supposed to
thought
do a
we
merch
friends.
exchange.
No, I know. I keep forgetting to ask you for your address because I'm just gonna send you one of my other shirts, and then yeah, we can just rock it. But
You got to pick one from
yeah,
my
I
category. Teespring messaged me.
oh
They were like,
sorry,
"You have
there's
170
categories on it.
designs." I was like, "Oh Jesus, whoops."
Do you just keep like switching it up? Is that what it is, or
I,
people like make it for you?
well, I have my buddy Adam who draws up the designs and cool things like that, and
Ah,
then I do the simple shit like this where it's just the logo and the lettering because I can't draw for shit. I just tried my
yeah.
hand at painting, and I think I'm okay at it. It's not the best, but
Okay. Oh well, I would like to the next time we talk, your shirt will be right on here, and then
you got to
I'll
get my
pretend I'm.
my CCP one, which is it's in honor because we're all podcast, YouTube, all that is all banned in China.
Uh huh.
I made a it's like the Goku thing on your hat, but it's my letters in Chinese, and then it's
Oh,
like that, and it says out of the blank. Yeah,
I'm on brand right now. I'm wearing all Dragon Ball right now. So Dragon Ball hat, Dragon Ball shirt. I don't know if you can see that. See that?
it's a great show.
All right.
It's probably
All
one
right.
of the
Right.
longest running ones besides One Piece, which I'm like, that's the goal is to just to make content and not have to. I don't care about being super popular. Like One Piece isn't super
Mm-hmm.
popular. It usually comes on at like 1 o'clock in the morning. It's for those late night
Uh,
owls.
well,
they're
they're
they're they're
pretty
like at
popular, Rob.
they're at 1,056 episodes or something like that, but they've been running for like 20 something years. But I think it's like Dragon Ball
Yeah.
Z. Like a lot of people really care about Dragon Ball Z. Like I knew a guy who had the Saiyan tattoo on his arm, and I'm like, nice tattoo. He's like, if you know, you
Mm,
know. And I'm like, that's exactly right. Cause a lot of the generations now, there's other things going on. And I'm like, it's
yeah.
about capturing a certain audience. And then
Mm-hmm.
also the fact that do you want to be the money out the ass, like $5.7 billion, something like that, or you just want to be able to do the thing that you enjoy doing and not have to worry about bills. That one seems
Oh,
easier for
see,
me.
that is the joy, man. Imagine the exact same thing that I'm doing, right? But doing it in the comfort of my home, just cooking, teaching other people. Because I'm at a point in my life where I don't want to say old, but I'm getting older, Rob. I know I'm a little
You
above
look
you, but
great.
thank you. I will never crack. This will be permanently for like until I'm like 60, and then just a sharp
Yeah,
nosedive.
it's all downhill from there.
It just there's a certain limit, and then it just goes, yeah, you know what I'm saying? There's no So for now, it looks all bells and whistles, but then you hit that threshold, it just shoots. Also, we tend to shrink. I don't
All
know.
people
I don't
shrink and your
no
ears
no
don't
I know,
stop
but
growing.
even more so, but even more so, Asians, man. There's some genetically happening in the bloodstream that you just can't like I don't know. But let's just say that by 60, I will actually look like an 80-year-old person. Finally.
Well,
Like
do
it
you
would just exponentially go.
do you think
Or
that
maybe
the
not.
well, do you think that the key is maintaining physical and also eating healthy, or do you think that the maintain
Yeah,
maybe is
most
pop?
definitely.
But do you think it's more mental or spiritual too?
Hmm.
Because I feel like if
I
you
guess.
look, I have a happy diet. I've worked out every day for
Okay.
10 years. Okay. Now,
Hmm.
my whole thing is, and if you want to, I just did chest day today. So
I
no, just
bro,
kidding.
you got flex, my guy.
But what I'm saying is like the important thing I think is to be healthy mentally. And I think a lot of times it's kind of like when you have like a back injury for so long, you just get used to the back injury that you totally forget about it. And then someone fixes it and you're like, Jesus Christ, this is amazing. I can walk again. You're like, yeah, man,
Hmm.
sorry that happened to you. But it's like that mentally. You get stuck in a rut. And then when you get out of that rut, you don't realize how positive and how good you start to feel. My buddy, I have one buddy that left his job. We recorded, and then he wanted to capture that feeling of that pain he kind of felt and being nervous about what the next step was. And now he's doing
Hmm.
personal training. I have one buddy
Oh
that
wow.
owns a hot sauce company, and he just left his daytime job to do that full time. And it's that
Oh, that's
scary
awesome.
feeling, that between the ease type thing of like, but then you notice how it might be scary of wondering what your income is, but is it just better mentally where you might actually live longer? Because we got Lenny Kravitz that did cocaine like in his 70s and shit. So it's like
Yeah.
he was like, I mean, a fucking maybe exception to the rules, but maybe it's just about being positive and just maybe this whole feeling of like if you're okay mentally and spiritually, yeah, you can eat healthy. It might, and it's not going to hurt. But at the same
Hmm.
time, I mean, what's to stop you from eating fast food every single day? As long as you're happy with your life and in the situation you're in. And I feel like a lot of people in today's time, especially with all the political shit going on, which I don't want to get into, but
Mm.
it's everywhere. So it's just making you in this state of like focused in on one thing and angry all the fucking time.
Yeah. I guess to each their own, right? I think we were talking about yesterday how you're a fucking madman for doing 5 hour cardio. Let's just
Yeah,
stop there for a second.
my
That's
legs hurt.
insane.
I'm not
First of all.
walking.
Um, I did leg day the day before yesterday, and my ass cheeks are clapping like right now. Like it hurts fully, and then my back hamstrings are just like dead because I was doing I was doing supersets, but also I can do 10 plates on the leg press, which is nice. I haven't done that in a while. Worked up to it for about a couple months because my knees are shot, my right leg, so I have to, like, I don't want to say careful, but I don't want to push it either because just in case it blows out again, then it will be an issue at the kitchen because then I can't pivot.
It's
But so
funny.
slowly and
Yeah,
steadily.
it's funny you bring up the bones thing because like since I work at a gym and then like the fitness thing kind of like overcomes my whole entire life a little bit too.
Hmm.
I was listening to a podcast with Brett Weinstein where he was talking. He's an evolutionary biologist and he was talking about like our mouths, for instance, like
Okay.
the idea that you randomly get another set of teeth that grow inside of your mouth where you have to have them removed because it
Uh-huh.
won't fit with your jaw. That's an evolutionary thing because of the food that we've been eating for so long. And the concept of
Yeah.
it is that it's become softer. So the softer it gets, there's kind of like this, like back in the day, there was nobody that had to worry about getting their wisdom teeth taken out. There was
Hmm.
dentistry for sure in ancient Egypt. They used to take copper wire and like wrap it into your gums and have your teeth stick down in there.
Oh
But
my God, that's crazy.
through like orthodontia, he talks about like how his teeth are messed up now where he had to get a bunch of teeth removed because his
Mm.
orthodontist moved all his teeth forward and actually messed up his mouth. So actually
Oh
what we could
wow.
see as like dentistry or doing all this healthy stuff, this is actually hurting our evolutionary growth, where now our evolutionary growth has turned into where we need this kind of thing when before it didn't need it. It's kind of like how you needed your appendix before, now you don't need it
Hmm.
anymore.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I guess if your body wills it, it's gonna happen, you know. And it's all about how you use it for everyday purposes. I've told you I've been doing intermittent fasting for about this is my 8th year, right? I remain 250, 255 literally every year. This year I think I lost like another 2 pounds. I'm like 250, 253, 254. I gotta weigh myself again later. But I feel overall my health is pretty stellar, man. I can go on the cardio pretty well. I can I can perform nicely. However, the main thing for me though, and I think I've told you this on on the other episode that we did, is the way my body feels when I'm working.
Yeah.
I don't want to be too light, like I can't feel like I can't carry anything. It's a weird thing to complain about, to be heavier because I can load more onto my body. Like if I was like 20 or 30 pounds lighter, I don't think I can carry the same amount that I can, and I won't be able to perform as well. I think in my brain, it could be a mental thing too. Um,
Well, I get it because, like, for instance, like probably this week coming up, I'm not going to record anything,
okay,
so I'll
okay.
just be doing 5 hours of cardio all week, and
Hmm.
then usually at that
God
point, which,
damn.
well, what that's every day, so I mean
Okay, okay, okay.
that's going to be tough. So 5 hours a day of cardio, that's going to, and then
Hmm.
you just only consume like 200 calories or something like that. So you burn off 1600, only
Bro.
consume 200. Well, I've done that before in the past, and I've actually done it more to the extreme where I've done like eight
Mm,
hours of cardio, basically being at the gym 4 hours in the morning and then 4 hours in the afternoon.
uh-huh.
But that was before the podcasting kind of in got in
Yeah.
there. Now I got other shit I want to do. Like back in the day, I could spend 2 hours at a gym in one session just working out with weights, and it'd be easy. Now it's like an hour and a half, maybe an hour, and then I'm fucking out.
Hmm.
But when you walk outside after that, like especially only consuming so little calories, dude, you can feel like when a wind gust hits you, you feel like you're gonna fly over. Rain
Yeah, you're
hurts
gonna
your
fly over.
skin, just air in
Exactly.
general. Like today,
Yeah.
after doing 5 hours of cardio, trying to bench today, dude, it was like my muscles were like, oh no, we have nothing in us to be able to do
Yeah, yeah,
this.
yeah. Well, you're what? A buck 20, you said, right? Buck 40
Buck
ish.
28.
Yeah. So I'm like 100 pounds heavier than you
Well,
are.
you're
So it's like a
skinny
lot
for a
more weight.
chef, though. That's the thing. Is like
No,
you're in a
no,
kit.
I
I could
know.
never work in a kitchen. I'd be eating all the fucking food.
No, I definitely is. And we talk about that quite often in the cooking space. Because most cooks, I mean, no shame against any of the cooks, but they're more heavy set, like a lot of them, because there's a lot
There's
of
a
chasing, a
stigma
lot
for
of
you should never trust a skinny chef. That's the whole thing.
yeah, that
Yeah.
too. It's like you have to trust the fat chef because they know the food. They taste better. They overall they because they eat well and you can see it, right? However, I think that eating well though makes you better in the kitchen because like then you can like imagine if I was another 60 pounds heavier. Like, it's kind of controversial, right? Like I don't we don't shame in this podcast or we don't shame in anywhere. But if I were heavier and I didn't take care of myself, I don't think I'd be able to cook as good as I can in the kitchen right now. Like I won't be able to move. I won't be able to get to the things I need to do in a certain amount of time. Like it's so specific. And so it's like time based, like how we cook. Like for example, do you know what foie gras is? You've heard of what foie gras is, right?
Wells Fargo.
Wells Fargo, foie gras, the duck fat.
Oh, I thought you said Wells Fargo. The way you said it sounded like Wells Fargo. I was like, I
I mean,
think I've
it
heard of Wells
sounds like Wells
Fargo.
Fargo. Don't use Wells Fargo. They suck. Bank of America also sucks.
Well, they just fucked over
All the
every
banks
single person
sucks.
that was using their thing. They took out this thing where all personal loans or whatever it was are denied. So a bunch of people just went into debt, like crashed all their personal accounts and shit.
Oh my god.
Yeah, because they went
Yeah, no, I
bankrupt.
don't. So I only do internet banking, which is kind of
I don't bank.
inefficient because I can't deposit. Like I can't. They don't have like a physical store anywhere.
I put
So
all my
it's
money
just
in socks and shove them in my drywall.
yeah.
Hmm.
What are you, 60? Sound like my
I grew up
my
in the
grandmother. She
20s.
used to yeah. You stuff shit in the beds. Oh my god. My grandma used to do that. I was like, La, what if just bear with me here. What if an act of God happens and this shit just gets flooded or we're in a fire or there's an emergency? What are you gonna do with all this cash? What are you
Well, weigh
you
your
can't
options.
physically just grab it.
An act of God happens or an act of the government where they just take over the banks and you can't get your fucking money. I don't know what you want me to
So it's a
say.
lose. It's a lose lose. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, you just gotta put it in your sock
You
and hope to
can't
God you
win.
don't get mugged.
Oh my goodness. I recently received, again, I don't carry cash, Rob. Everything goes to the bank. Everything is electronic nowadays. I received 40 in a tip. I'm like, what the fuck am I gonna do this? Like, what's $40? Like, where? I'm like so lost. I don't carry cash at all. And I'm like, I guess I could just go. I have to wait like a week to fill up my card, and I'll use the $40. I'm like so thrown off with cash in my hand. So it just, I guess it's all perspective. That's what I'm trying to say. But anyway, back to cooking though. If I were heavier, I wouldn't be able to do the things I need to do in the split seconds that I need to do, especially when was talking about foie gras, right? It's a high price item, cost really expensive. There's a lot of bending up and down, going into the oven, going back up, saucing, etc. A lot of pivoting. Bro, I'm telling you, I'd be like a really bad cook if I was heavier. Like
Um,
so bad.
it depends though, because then how do you explain chefs that are overweight that do that? I think you just adapt to your weight, much
I
like we talk about
guess.
the
I don't
adaptation to
know.
back pain. You would adapt to the weight to be a slow. It's not like you just magically gain 60 pounds. It would be over a extended period of time where I think you would just
Yeah.
adapt to it. But you would notice it when you weren't doing chef like things. Like if someone said,
Mm-hmm.
"Let's go hiking," you'd be like, "Fuck." Like for instance, like fitness people, the ones that are like really jacked and like people that are like they're in okay shape. I'm in okay shape, so
Mm-hmm.
you get. I mean, I got six packs, so I don't go brag or nothing. But
Flex.
what I'm saying is like when it comes to like benching or squats or doing whatever those types of. I don't really squat, but when you do like
Mm,
cardio sessions, I can do a whole bunch of cardio on elliptical. But then if you ask
yeah.
me to like go hike the mountains, I'm still going to be winded on shit. It's because gym
Yeah,
muscles
man.
are different from like work muscles, and work muscles are
Yeah,
different
work
from life
muscles are different.
muscles. Yeah.
So let's talk about actual like use of your muscles, right? So I specifically train my legs and my back all the time because there's a lot of front load from the bottom and up. That's like my motion all the time. I'm bringing shit to the floor, into the table, lifting shit from the table into like the cooler and above into storage. That's the bulk of my motion, literally every day, all day, every day. So the main motion for that is like squats, and actually like if you I don't remember what it is. Like the pull from the floor, like for your back. You know what I'm talking about?
Like a row.
Like a row. Yeah, like a row, almost like a row, but you're using the what is it called? Like you have the
I'm just picturing you doing like a mid twerk, but not fully shaking your ass right now. Am I
yes. Well,
wrong?
anyway, no, you're
I
not
am
wrong.
picturing you
So a
picking
lot
up
of
peanut
squats.
oil while you're describing
Yeah,
this,
yeah,
though.
yeah, yeah. Well, okay, the heaviest thing in the kitchen that I can think of that that daily comes in is our oil packets. They're like 40
That's what I
pounds
was thinking. Yeah.
40 pounds a piece. But you can farmer carry them, so it's not a big deal.
Okay.
But
Working
there's a
your
lot of
treasure.
that, and then you're putting it on tables. And then like when big items of like protein comes in, like chicken or beef or venison and shit, like you're literally it's like 60, 70 pounds putting it onto the table, and then you're like moving it back and forth. But anyway, a lot of back muscles and a lot of leg muscles are needed for my type of work, and that's what I focus on when I work out because I don't want to I don't I don't want to not have those muscles because I would be I won't be able to do what I need to do. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
So I don't bench. I barely do curls. It's just a lot of rowing motion, like a lot of back motion. My back is pretty fucking jacked. Like I have a 4-pack on my back.
Well,
I got back abs.
like I know people that come into the gym and they work out specific muscles that they use on work every day. Construction people like to like do lifts
Mm-hmm.
that that they bring something up over their head because they're carrying labor or lumber around all
Yeah, yeah,
day.
yeah,
But I mean, it just depends on what you're really going for. Like I like the aesthetic look of things. I don't really care about the functional muscle aspect. I'm not caring about being the strongest in the gym or the biggest or the
yeah.
most jacked. I just care more about the looks of things.
I
Just
got you.
staying lean. But like, I mean, I did 5 hours of cardio because someone said my face looked puffy. I was like, fuck. And but I have an injured back, so like I don't try and do a lot of like
Mm.
low bend down type stuff because it hurts to do that
Got it,
types of
got it, got
things.
it, got
But
it.
cardio eases a lot of like the disc issues that I have, so I tend to do that. I think it's all about being functional. Like if you consider healthy, naturally moving, do that. I mean, I know plenty of people like farmers, for instance. They don't give a fuck about
Oh yeah.
working
at all.
out.
They don't give a
They
shit.
only they
Yeah.
because they're out. What they fast basically all day while they're working, and they go home and eat a
Yeah.
giant plate of mashed potatoes and a bunch of really carby, starchy food and go to bed. They're not in bad shape. They might be a little bit thicker, but they're also like natural functional muscles where they can toss a
Yeah.
bale of hay over their head. So I'm like, this is my whole thing about like this body shaming aspect that people talk about, like, oh, you telling someone to lose weight, you can't say. Back in the day, this is how weird the fucking world was. Universal Studios contracts, actors contracts, models contracts, all to stay in a certain weight class. And if they go above it, they have to lose weight or they lose their fucking job. They don't do
It's
that
crazy.
anymore. So what the weird thing is, what happens if you just translated that to chefs, where chefs had to
Yeah.
be in a certain fucking weight class to be a chef? It's like the same stereotype of you never trust a skinny
Hmm.
chef. I think like for like there's a bunch of different tips and tricks to get whatever situation you want to get in. But I know bodybuilders who friends of mine who just did a competition recently who are suffering from kidney issues because they had to lose a drastic amount of weight in a short amount of time, which you're not supposed to
Wow.
do. So there's unhealthy spectrums on both sides of it, and it creates this mental kind of fatigue and dysmorphia that rolls with it. And I don't consider that healthy. What I consider healthy is if you feel like you want to get in shape and going to the gym is for you, try it. If it's not, then don't worry about it. Go walk around, go to the beach, go do something that where you're going to
Hmm.
express and enjoy your life. I've spent every day going to the gym. Back in the day was hours and hours a day just staring at weights when you could actually do those functions and translate them to what? Going outside and moving and seeing the world and
Yeah.
doing all these types of things. That's why people have Pelotons where they're cycling on a road basically
Oh,
with a screen in front
Pelotons.
of them. So I'm just like, there's a give and take with everything. I think you just got to look at what is going to make you the happiest in your life. If being the happiest in your life is
Agree.
just having a person that cares about you for your personality and your looks and also finds you appealing in that way, or do you want to only like that fear of if you lose or if you gain weight, your partner's not going to like you anymore. That should
Mm.
never be there. You should like someone for you rather than for how they look at you. And this is why people like when I see a girl that's super, super jacked, it's hot. Sure.
Oh, very hot.
But also, if they're in the gym 24/7, I go, this is a person that cares way too much about their body, where all their time will be spent into this. So it'd be
Mm.
a difficult relationship. It'd be difficult to do those types of things. Same thing with like I've heard from a friend of mine who's a girl. She said, "Hey, like when I see a guy who's super into his car or super into the gym and really jacked, that's a person that cares too much about their physique or too much about their car, where it would be less time for them." And I'm like, I can understand that. I think you want to find a
Yeah.
happy medium where you get into this situation where your life is a little bit balanced. And that's kind of like the whole grand aspect of things. You might do a cooking gig and you might work and only sleep like 4 hours a night or something like that, where you're up really early in the morning. But are you happy with the things that you're doing where you feel like every single day is not only an adventure, but it's a positive step forward in your life? And I'm not trying to turn this into a motivational thing. It's more
No,
of
no,
just a
I definitely understand you. No, it definitely is because all about mindset, right? I think that's where we're going with there because you can be as fit as you want, but you can be like the saddest person, right?
yeah.
Or you can be as not fit as you are, but you're the happiest fucking clam ever. So it just depends. I think the best time in my life, I think I want to say 2004, 2006. I was
Jesus.
training.
I thought you were going to be like,
It was a
oh,
long,
best time in my
it was a
life was
long
going to be
time.
like
I only
2019
say
or
that
2020. You were like 2004. I was like, fuck, that's a while
I
ago.
only say that because it was the environment that I was in, right? I was still in college, or I was actually finishing college, but the
Selling drugs.
training, right. I was training in basketball, but the location of the gym to where your dorms are, it's in the hill. So whenever we transition into the summer, coach would be like, "No, we don't need to do cardio anymore. We're just gonna show up and do our thing regularly, but no need to running around, because he already figured out that we're already burning the cardio because just going back and forth to the hill, and also where the gym is. That's also where the cafeteria are. So you from the dorm, you're always doing that walk up the hill all day every day. So you're already burning the stuff without having to think about it. And if I can just implement that into like like if I get a home, or when I say a home, like we have like an acre of land,
Okay.
making sure it's like uphill almost all the time, and like I'm forcing myself to walk up and down that hill, bro, I'd be in crazy shape without even having to think about it. I think if we can just implement that on everyday lifestyle, we'd be so fit. But that was crazy. It was no effort almost. I just showed up for the meets. I played the games and then went about my business. That was it. Didn't care about cardio, didn't do anything because we were already like, if I can think about it, I was like always huffing and puffing during that season because of the hills. It was nice. So I guess I just want that.
Well, do
I
you
want a house big enough to do that.
accept the challenge when a challenge is approached to you, or do you just like
Oh,
sticking with
definitely.
something that you know what your are it's already predictable, you know what it's going to be like?
I like both. I definitely like both. Especially in the kitchen. If we get like in terms of challenges, like today, I'll tell you right now. So we had a crazy text message last night. My boss goes, "Oh, by the way, we have a wedding tomorrow at 4 p.m." Give you perspective, our restaurant opens at 5:30. So this is a last minute thing that they just booked for tomorrow, which today rather, and we didn't have any extra prep. So today when I come in, it's all hands on deck. That's a challenge in itself to get that set and ready before we open the restaurant. So we're gonna feed all these people and then open the restaurant properly and then feed all those
So
people. So there's like an
you got a
extra.
private event that you have. That's like, so I worked at a water park when I was like 13, 14. And I remember I was going into work, and a bunch of Jewish people rented out the whole water park before it
Oh my god.
opened by a couple of hours. So that means at the crack of like dawn, maybe when it was still dark out, they were using the water slides and the lazy river and everything like
Oh
that.
wow.
And I was like, what the hell's going on? And my boss like, yeah, they rented out the water park before we opened at 9. So they had like a good couple of hours there. And I was like, but why? Why wouldn't they just come here when people were here? And they go, well,
Yeah.
it's part of their religion that they can't see a girl in a bikini before like their 16th birthday or their whatever
Oh
birthday.
wow.
Yeah, because it's against their religion. I'm like, oh my God, that's a shitty religion. I'm sorry.
Guess to each their own, right? But they paid a premium for it. So these folks today are paying a premium. I think it's like $400 extra on top of whatever they're gonna pay for the food, just to book the room and for that time, obviously. But it just gives an extra. There's an extra lever, a layer of a panic, I should just say, because now we're waiting. It's not like I'm panicking because we can't do it. I'm panicking because I didn't have product to go into today. So I'm hopefully the fish comes in literally before 3 p.m. So we can butcher it all, portion it out, get ready for service. But if it comes at like 4 or 5 o'clock, we're fucked.
You're
Fucked.
like, you're explaining how most people like kind of consume their life a little bit. Like just predicting and hoping that it's all going to work out the way that you plan that it's going to work
Yeah.
out. And it never fucking does. It never does.
No, I know. But we can sort of plan the kitchen. That's why it's so cool. Like you can kind of predict how much you're going to do.
What happens
And
if you get a flat
through
tire and then the
some
truck doesn't show up?
yeah. Then there's some other cases, some variables that you can't omit, but you can still work around it,
Don't
right?
worry,
And that's
you
the
got that money hiding in
or
the
maybe you
drywalls.
don't,
You got some money hiding in the
or
drywalls.
maybe you don't. It all just depends. But for the surplus of people doesn't bother me. The everyone else, the third party people that are coming in to drop off the product is what bothers me. So I already called my purveyors. I'm like, hey, listen, I have a party today. I know it's last minute. Can you guys come early, please?
I got a
That'd be
question for
lovely.
you.
Mm.
Why is it that whenever there's like a funeral afterwards, people go get food after?
You know, that's a good question. I don't know.
Is it like just like a thing to do so you're
Maybe
not
it's a
just showing up
thing.
to a death event?
Yeah, I guess maybe it's a lament for everybody. Like, oh, we're really thankful for so and so. It just passed today. This is their meal to, I don't know, break off their body or something.
Well, I'll never forget
I
when
don't know, but maybe.
my great grandma
Mhm.
passed. I went to a seafood restaurant afterwards.
Okay.
And like I ran into like, I mean, she was like in her 90s. So like I was
Wow,
running
God
into
bless her.
people I've never seen before, like that were her sisters. And they were like a little
Oh
bit
wow.
younger, but they were like, oh, you just look like your great grandfather. And then like all it started going all these things. I'm like, who are you people? And I was like 12 at the
Who are
time. I was
you?
like, who are you people? And then my dad's like, those are your great grandma's sisters. Like, how come I've never, and you start meeting family you've never even known about. Like, this is your third
Yeah.
cousin Jimmy who fought in Iraq for 20 years. You're like, what is this shit? Like, I don't know. I've never seen these people in my entire life.
Oh my God. I can only imagine my family members right now. So give you perspective, right? My grandmother and my grandfather are 15 years apart because of the war. That's just how it is. World War II, right? My grandfather saw her. took her, got
Which
married.
war was
That's
that?
literally the story. Huh?
Which war was that?
World War II.
Oh, okay.
And
We were at war.
not we were, but just the Philippines were at some point. But they were so they got married, made kids. However, there was a disjoint between my grandmother's family, which I we all knew, like as a family, but my grandfather's family apparently were white collar, and we have no clue who the fuck they are, no clue. So I have a set of family members somewhere in the Philippines. I don't know if they're alive or dead, that are lawyers, doctors, something, and I've never met them, never in my life. So there's another layer there. How do you just how do you kind of manage that system if you do meet your family members? Like, oh yeah, by the
Do,
way, your grandfather was, we were related, but you just don't know. I don't know, man.
do you
This is some
have
crazy shit.
only family members that are Philippines, or do you have members that are like any of their Asian ethnicity?
Um, I guess to answer your question, so my grandmother is half Chinese.
Okay.
My grandfather, I think his mulatto, so he's like half white ish,
Okay.
like Spaniard. My father is pure Spaniard from Spain, and I'm also mixed into the whole bit. Like this, see this thing? We don't get this, bro. This is not a Filipino thing. This facial hair,
Hmm.
that's straight up. This is
You're a
straight up
perfect specimen. I get it.
Spaniard.
Okay.
this is straight up Spaniard and a little bit Chinese maybe. So I don't know.
Well,
So there's a
I'm
lot of that.
I was just wondering because there's kind of like a racial thing amongst
Okay.
Asian ethnicities where they look down on other people depending if you're
Oh,
Chinese.
very,
There's like a category. So I was
very,
wondering
very,
what that
very.
was because like someone that I'm not going to mention their name, but a guest that I was potentially going to get saw your episode and then says, "Sorry, I don't want to do the podcast anymore." And it was just specifically your episode that was pointed out. And I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
what is like you don't I mean I don't understand that whole thing, but they were of
Yeah, there's
Asian
a
ethnicity, so I figured it was a class thing as well too.
bro, there's a hierarchy about it. So in the old ages, right? It's it's all about skin color. That's literally it. Japanese rank the highest. So Japanese, Koreans, Chinese, and then all the brown Asians underneath that. So that's how the hierarchy was. So if you're browner skin, it just meant that you were like a like a laborer. You're outside in the field all day because your skin is in the sun. If you're higher class, as we call it,
The
you're
paler you
mostly
get.
pale in the skin. Yeah,
That's
it's
kind of
it's
like
pretty it's pretty
when
typical.
kind of like when you come across like a farmhand and then you come across like a person that's a CEO in a business, they're just pale as shit
Correct. And
compared.
you're just like, what the fuck? Have you ever picked up a hoe or used your hands or whatever? Same shit, right? But in terms of skin color, though, because I mean, my natural skin color is more brown than this, but I definitely a whole lot browner. No, I know.
My
Sean and I
tan
were
is all
just,
messed up, dude. My tan, like I fell
are
asleep in the
you,
sun, so this whole part of
bro?
my
Can we
back
talk
is
about
pale
tans?
white.
You see this?
I
It's
fell
because it
asleep in
hangs
the
out the
sun.
window.
My skin is still
It's like
hurting from when I fell asleep in the sun 2 days ago. Like it feels like it's burning on the inside. I'm like, I think I accidentally like something's wrong. Like I might need to go to the
yeah,
hospital.
in terms of melanin too, but again, it's a hierarchy thing in feudal Asia, as we call it. So that's just that. It's no contest. Don't feel bad about that. It's just, it is what it is.
Well, I've
Or
been having
maybe
a
it
lot
is.
of like
I have no
potential.
idea.
I've had a lot of potential like guests that I was trying to get that would refuse to come on the show because of an episode that a past guest of mine was on. I was like, you got to make sure you're looking at
Mhm.
like the first timers. When you're on your second or third time, it's a little bit more freeing. And
Yeah,
this is what I get problems with academics, or I get problems with anything. I don't like anybody having power over me or anybody
got it.
controlling things what I do, where people start going, I can't do the show because it would mess up maybe my scholarship or mess up my. I was like, why would you ever like want something to have control of you that way? Like imagine if you couldn't do my show because
Mhm.
your restaurant wouldn't like that. Are you going to say
Yeah,
fuck that? Like I'm going to say what I want because it's me. It's not nobody has power over me. That's how I think of it. But people go like, "No, it's about, maintaining your career in life." I'm like, "Life is fucking fragile. You could spend 30 years in a company right before you retire, you get hit by a fucking car."
see, I'm glad you bring this up because at a certain point, I had several NDAs on my name, so I couldn't explain to you processes. I couldn't explain to you recipes. I couldn't explain to you like the building, like what I worked in. And those have just about all expired within the last year. I can talk about it now. I don't want to, but it's I guess it's a career thing. Like it's a legitimate fear of losing said career, or maybe a potential of somebody suing you. Let's say. Um
Well, I
or
translate
my
it to the
favorite.
same aspect of like fitness, for instance.
Oh, I got you. I got you.
If you're going to force yourself to eat a strict meal every single day and do this for the rest of your life and never try any desserts or anything because you're limiting yourself and you do 90 years.
Mm,
Now, if a person likes that, like for me, I've gotten so used to the diet I've eaten for every day for 10 years where I don't fucking care for any other food. So I'm not a food guy. So that's
yeah,
my
yeah,
whole
yeah.
thing. Is like it doesn't bother me. But for some people, the diet's the hardest part. It is one of the hardest parts, but don't limit yourself your whole entire life to where you miss out on all this time.
Yeah.
That's why when you see bodybuilders end up becoming fat or trainers that are mostly fat, it's because they worked already, they spent enough time where they realized like, what's the point? Like muscles will fade. You do have the
Yeah.
foundation there, but they're not permanent unless you always keep working on them.
Mm-hmm. And that's exactly what it is, right? And so it to your point on your guests, and for everyone that's listening, if you are afraid of it, highly consider to not even reach out to Rob. First of all, let's get that all situated, because if you're that if you're that worried about your job finding XYZ, they will find out eventually. Like they really will. Like that's why when I hire people, I tell them, did you read the employee handbook? It says there specifically, like literally on all corporates, no social media postings. And if you notice right now, a lot of people your age and maybe even younger, they're 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 posting on social media. Oh, I just got fired for some stupid shit that I showed. Bro, did you even take the time to read what was in your employee handbook? Like they don't allow this, like at all.
Well, I just want to put out there that I can be professional when it needs to be professional, but you
Correct.
can't base it off of one episode considering I have so many more to view.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I don't know.
I don't like
Due
labels.
diligence, right? Due diligence is your next kind of sense that needs to be coming out of your mouth, because you have to literally find out first if that fits your category. So to the people that didn't make your podcast, I'm sorry, man. They're just they're just not. It wasn't meant to be. Let's just say that.
I'm
So
not
we
upset
can put it
about it.
into that way. I'm not upset
I
about
don't have a struggle finding content.
it. I know, you're crazy. Literally every day, you're a nut, man. Nut. But you know what? To each your own. To each your
I'm
own. I do
lonely.
similar thing. It's whatever. Um, uh, it's a crazy. Oh, did I tell you about the car? My car. Actually I didn't tell you my car. So 3 weeks ago, as you know, we all got a little crazy weather here in the East Coast. Lots of flood, lots of everything. My car got not totaled, but my car got affected by it. So at the height of that day, it was September 9th, I believe, or September 1st. And I drove through that day to go back home because, obviously I want to get back home. I drove through several lakes. And after about 2 weeks, I finally got my rental car literally today. Um, and Rob, it's going to cost me $7,000 to fix the
Fuck the car, dude. Fuck the car. Get a new one.
car. No, I know. So I'm just like, let's appraise it. Let's do its thing. I don't want to pay 7 grand. But let's talk into new car, because at that point you're paying 7,000. Like, bro, might as well just get. It's time for a new one.
Well,
It's
you're in
it's
Jersey, right?
literally. I'm in Jersey.
I'm
I'm
in
in
Ocean
Jersey.
City, so like if you try and like it's very very rare to come across a car on the East Coast that hasn't been affected by salt water just because you're
Yeah,
right next to the beach. But like for instance, like when it rains really bad here like we've been having, there's just giant flood pockets where I'll see a car in front of me hit this giant thing look like it goes like like a submarine underwater, like only where the fucking windows are like only showing, and I'll slam my car like no way in hell. And that happens like I
yeah,
go to work late at night or like early in the morning I would say. So everything's like it's pitch black. It's still night out.
yeah,
So I'm driving and then I won't see this giant puddle. As soon as I hit it, you just got to go through it. I've seen people turn off their cars when they get
yeah. No,
stuck in
don't do
that.
that.
Yeah, then
No, no,
you're
no, no,
letting all the
no.
water go right into the exhaust because the exhaust is keeping
Yeah,
it
don't
from
do
going
that.
in there.
Don't do that. So I have a Subaru. The thing kept going. Like it's really amazing, that car. However, it's all electronic, Rob. That was all the damages. All the seats, all the electronics in the seats, fucked. The windows sort of kind of go up and down. My car key don't work. Any of the functions on a chair don't work. My mirrors can't fix them anymore because it's all like literally on the doors. So that's the major of the damage. That's why $7,000. So I don't know. I'm in the market for a new car. Um,
You
but yeah,
putting an ad
that's
out on my show of looking for
just
anybody
hit
out
me up.
there.
Just I mean,
I got any
just hit me up
dealerships?
if you have a new car, all
I
wheel drive. It has to be all wheel or four wheel
my
drive.
hot sauce buddy David, he does work at a Subaru dealership. So
Oh, there you go. I'm looking at that. I'm looking at that Outback, my guy. Oh man, I'm craving for space. I really am. I haul a lot of things to and fro, because of the gigs and because of music equipment and stuff. Even like chef equipment when I'm doing catering, bro. There's a lot of shit,
yeah.
and I would more often be more. It'd be better if I had like a hatchback style. It just opens up, push all the seats down, kind of load him up, kind of thing, and then just pull him out, sort of. Because right now I'm sticking shit in the back seat,
I'm
you know.
I'm a less technology type of guy, and especially when it comes to cars, like I do like the smell of gasoline. I do like an old school muscle car, just an old
I get
car.
you.
I like that old style body in general. Like I have a car right
Mm-hmm.
now that if I even when I'm driving, if I have the headlights on and I try and like roll my windows down, you see the headlights dim because the batteries were just not made to power like multiple different things at once. But like when I get into like a futuristic car, like our newer one with like Bluetooth, that's futuristic to me. That's just like I just found out my computer has Bluetooth. Like I had wireless headphones the other day,
What?
but it's so hard to get that shit set up. But I was the first time I didn't even think to check it because I'm not that type of person. Like my one of my closest friends is all of that. Like he has Google Lights in his house. Everything is hooked up
Yeah.
to his phone. His door like greets you when you walk in, and it's just
Whoa, that's a little excessive.
it's too much for me because I like the basic functions of stuff. And yeah, it does like make things a little bit more difficult, but it also keeps it to where like I know how everything's set up and I know how everything works and I know where to change everything. If you mess up a car
Mm.
now, the dude has to pull out a computer and plug it into your car and it
Yeah,
has to
that's
scan
literally it,
for
man.
you. I'm like, before I used to know if my battery was dead, I could just replace the fucking battery or replace a headlight. Now you got to take it to
Mm.
a shop and have a customized worker on it. Like that's why a lot of people give Elon Musk crap, but I actually appreciate just because I like his style of like it's kind of like he has that Trump personality. Like I
Mm.
talked about this before, but his Twitter handle was just name and it had a check mark by it. So it just pissed people off. And I was like, he just said versus type in your name, he goes, name, name, type in name, name. And then that's what he did. But it pissed so many people off, and everyone yells him about space junk and all this. But I was like, with his Teslas, for instance when this is where we talk about the grind. When he
Ah,
first created his Teslas and he was making the automation cars and he was getting the push for it forward, it was first becoming like this whole entire thing of the electric cars. All the news did was find Tesla car crashes and then
yeah,
popularize it all over the news about 2, 3 years ago. And then everyone was scared to drive a Tesla and afraid that it was going to
yeah.
automatically drive you into something. Now, we're seeing that happen again because now they're talking about the 2025. They want to make all electric cars, which is going to be interesting, but I mean, it's going to be
Mm.
definitely possible. I would just prefer to have an older style one. But he puts all the original schematics to the Teslas, all the original blueprints and models and plans up for the public to see. And
Yeah.
then, like, the reason why he wasn't invited to the White House recently with Biden, where all these other electric car companies and all these other car companies were in there to get this
Mm.
2025 car thing going, was because he was only Biden was only accepting people that would be like that had unions. Like he was only accepting those
Yeah,
workers to
yeah, yeah,
make
yeah.
them. But
Correct.
Elon doesn't have any unions, and which is a good sign for his company because that means
Mm.
when the unions are formed, that's people striking against the company.
Correct.
Everyone that works at Tesla has stock options. So
Yeah,
they're
isn't
not
that crazy?
so
Like
I
I think
mean,
it's the greatest thing ever. Like you wanna retain your employee, so make sure you give them an actual benefit for being into the company. I get it. To each their own. Everyone has different experience, but like just the simple motion of giving you stock in the company for working there, leagues and bounds. Like I absolutely sign me up.
well, people
If I
look at him like
were an engineer,
he's like an evil like mastermind of the Dr. Evil style type. I'm like, first of all, is it better to have happy employees where they're going to end up making you money and be happy to work for you? Or are you going to make it like whatever Bezos, where his thing is like a freaking concentration camp of just trying to
Yo,
make people like,
Bezos is something else,
you have
man.
10 minutes, piss in that bottle and get back to work.
My God, that guy. I can only fathom. Can you imagine young Bezos in the garage, like where they started, and just as a book merchant, like, oh, you know what, this is kind of cool. We're making some revenue, blah blah. And then all of a sudden, somebody made a switch, or one of him or his wife decided, I think we should go into merch. Literally all the merch. Let's start buying EINs. Let's start getting all that stuff. See if we can, do the shipping and shit. And then boom, out it fucking goes. And then what do you do, Rob? Tell you right now, how would you spend your money if you're getting millions by the day? Millions by the day.
I
Like,
think
there's no fucking, oh my God, like, there's just no fucking way.
I think eventually, after I had a little fun with it at first and maybe paid off like a bunch of
That's a
stuff,
little fun.
I would try and do stuff beneficial with it, which is just mostly trying to find like actual free media sources to be established where people can actually get like non-biased news. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
If anything, I'm biased more towards the government of just looking through their deep and dark and whatever dark and dirty secrets. But I would try and
Mhm.
find like Elon Musk, for instance, when people talk about like, why did he give up on all these projects? And I'm like, well, he was only doing them because he lived in California. He thought about making a tunnel system to make traffic easier for him. Like he's only about
Yeah.
improving his life and improving the place that
Yep.
he's at. So anybody that's in that area is affected in a positive way. He's not caring because he doesn't need to put all of his money in helping people. People expect
Mm.
billionaires to want to help out the world. I'm like, it's their fucking money. If you had that money, you wouldn't
Yeah.
worry about helping out other people. You don't even think about it.
I guess I'm just waiting for a Bruce Wayne, like for the people, by the people. I'm gonna spend my money to help everybody. Wear fucking, Batman suit. Um, if I, God,
I
just
just want
can you just
someone
think of the
that
amount
was
of
going to be
cash
honest about the bullshit. Like, I just want someone in the
that
office
too,
that's just going to be like, I
that
don't
too.
know. I don't know. I don't know. What do you, Mr. President, what do you mean you don't know? I don't fucking know. That's what I'm
Yeah.
telling you is that we're going to take the step to step. We're going to take this step by step together. I'm like, thank you.
Mm,
At least you're honest. Like every
yeah.
time it seems like we're getting a mixed bag of emotions when it comes to shit. And I'm like, man, I think right now in this time, what we really need is like a come together thing. And like
Mm.
besides like the lab thing being right, where I was like, that's where it fucking came from, and everybody's talking about it now. But now they're saying it was a planned release that they were actually going to release it in a bat cave and have it naturally go out. So then there was no paper trail back to
Wow.
them, but it actually came.
Crazy.
Did you not see any of this? Please pull this up.
I
Just
I have not.
type it
I
on your
have
computer right
not.
now for everybody
Hold
listening,
on.
so I don't seem like a misinformation person. Just type in
Okay.
Wuhan lab and look
I
at
got
every
you. Hold
single
on. Give me a
new
sec.
article a day ago, 2 days ago, and look at that shit. And I'll sit here and entertain the folks while Casey is looking this up. I'm
Okay.
tired of this bullshit because people are like, I haven't heard that. I'm like, look everywhere. Everywhere is that's what I'm talking about. Am I the
Proves
only one
COVID leaked from Wuhan lab. Yeah, absolutely. Before September 12th, 2019.
who said it though?
This is on several. I have the New York Post on my screen right now.
Got any others by the New York Post? Because everybody I see that retweets a New York Post article, they'll go, well, that's the New York Post. I'm like, I've seen you retweet multiple articles by them. What the fuck? So
Mhm.
Washington Post, The Intercept, any of these
Literally, I mean,
places,
if you just type it up, all of it, New York Post, Washington Post,
read the headline.
BBC, literally everything. Leaked from Wuhan lab on all of them, all of it. Wuhan scientists wanted to release coronavirus into bats. COVID origin, Wuhan lab leak, blah blah blah, theory, etc. Literally everything Wuhan lab. So just taking into account like that, like it's
I
kind
just
of
feel validated.
it's
Well, they
kind of
realized the
intense, man.
relationship was unsavable. They were trying to save the relationship and face with China by not blaming them for this. So they were trying to find a way around it. But it actually did them more of a disservice because I've talked to pangolins or penguins, whatever they call them, the natural animal that was supposed to spread it. And those scientists were like, you know how fucking hard it is to get the name of this creature out there? Because everyone's like, do you mean penguin? No, we mean the other fucking thing that never ever gets any credit. Then this animal gets blamed for a whole pandemic that basically threw the world into chaos. They were
Oh
like,
my
it's so
goodness,
hurtful to them.
that's insane. That's just insane. So yeah, I have, like I said, I have no time to look at any of the news. I get like maybe blips of it when I'm awake in the morning before I'm doing shit, and just
Any social
I'll
media you
scroll.
stay on besides Facebook is showing you this type of shit.
Oh wow, yeah, I could assume so.
Twitter's the
I don't
stomping
frequent.
ground for it.
Yeah, like if you're in Twitter or Facebook, like if that's your normalcy. I don't. So I don't see any of this. If for front and foremost, it's all about bills and purveyors and who's delivering on time, and that's my circle, Rob. Literally, what are we getting a delivery of today? What? How many people are we having?
You know what?
Like yesterday,
You know
just
what?
like influx of fucking people.
You know what really scared me the other day?
Mm,
I'm gonna be 100% honest with you. This might be very
okay,
deep. So I really like no all
I
jokes
got you.
aside.
I'm ready for you.
What really scared me was the fact that there is so much information out there that I'm never fully going to even grasp or scratch the surface of all of it out there.
Oh no, absolutely. If
I
you think of
think I
yourself,
know I think I know a lot. Like I think I'm pretty educated on some factors and stuff. But then I was
I
in this
got you.
Twitter space the other day of a UFO group. They were talking about these ancient origins of history of all these things. And I'm like, fuck, man. Like everyone's listing off books and all these types of shit. And I like those. I don't like the ones where it's like, well, I knew a person who knew this person, and then I can't say the name and I can't go into
Mm,
full detail. I'm like, all right, fuck off. But the guy who made Skinwalker Ranch, the documentary, I heard
okay.
him in a Twitter space. He randomly joined and he was talking about, he's like, well, like Snowden, for instance, he leaked all that government stuff, the WikiLeaks stuff that exposed all the government
Mm,
stuff. Now, what he did was illegal. He basically told all of the government secrets. It kind of led into like the social dilemma documentary, and it kind of
yeah.
the government kind of painted him as a bad person, like a traitor. But really, he was showing everyone how much like they're watching us and how much they're observing all the stuff, which we all know is now is common. Much
Mm,
like sooner or later, the Wuhan lab is going to be like, oh yeah, we all fucking know that, and they're going to move past it. It's even though before it was a conspiracy,
yeah.
but with Snowden, for instance, like there's someone out there where the Skinwalker Ranch guy talked about. He goes, there's someone out there, even like there's all these accounts of people finding alien memorabilia or all these types of things that are left over. But when they go to get the news goes to interview them, they say, never mind, we don't want to get our lives ruined by the government or anybody seizing our stuff or controlling our lives or taking us away. But there's people out there that are willing to lose their reputation or take that risk to expose this information. So why don't you just give it to them? And it really hits this deeper point of like there's a fear aspect to it, or there's an aspect of people don't give a shit, or there's an aspect of people are just keeping it secret, or people are spreading misinformation. There's so many different
Mm,
things out there where it's hard to find out what the truth is. And I think the truth is your definitive reality that you live in. If you believe that you're a part alien, that's your reality and everything has convinced you to that. Now, do we have to question if it's mental health? Maybe so. But at the same time, I would never dismiss or tear down your reality on the basis of it doesn't fit mine. So this is why I can
yeah.
understand religion. But you start getting all these different realms, and people just have the craziest, awesome like perspectives. A lot of them are fucking intense, but you really look at them, you're like, man, there's so much information out there. I'm never truly going to understand it all. And that keeps me wanting to strive for more, but it also keeps me scared on a concept of like, we know nothing.
Yeah. We know extremely little. So I've come across this little hurdle of yours. I find it like if I were in a bubble, right? And let's say the bubble is the amount of knowledge in the world. How do I view myself in that bubble? I'm like, okay, like literally a dot, because I don't know. I only know what's pertaining to me. Anything cooking, and even in that space, there's so much to it, so much to it, right? Different countries, different specs, different items, different. There's so much. I have no. It will take me. I won't be even here. It would just be so much time and effort just to learn in that one space. And then you just kind of see like an outside perspective from that bubble on that little dot. There's so much we don't know. And how much of that are you willing to lose sleep over? Kind of. But I just like to stick in my little realm of cooking and doing stuff. So that's what I'm more worried about than anything. But I know you as a consumer of wanting to have more information, wanting to cram your brain in. Good luck. That's all I can say. That's a
It
lot of
definitely
info.
breaks you, but I think
Yeah, it's a lot
I
of
just
info.
appreciate changing the perception that I have in the moment that I have it by hearing someone else's perception. Where I was like, I never really even thought about that. Like I was talking to an
Hmm.
Egyptologist, and my main question was like, hey, everyone today seems like they're suffering from an identity crisis of who they are and what are they supposed to be. And I was like, has this always happened? Even when it comes to genders or so, has this always been like, you study Egyptology, so the ancient origins, did people believe this back in the day? And she goes, yeah, it's the same thing. They did it
Yeah.
back then too. And I was like, see, that normalizes it now to where people don't feel like they're freaks today. Like we normalize so much stuff to make it like, or you can be another gender if you want to be another gender. Back 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 2 years ago, you probably couldn't even do that. But now
Yeah.
it's normalized where I'm starting to understand if you look back in the past, don't try and think of like, oh, how horrible it is. Think in the mindset of back then, but understand is that like we're changing and evolving. And the fact that it is normalized is it was there in history too. You're not a freak. You're a fucking normal human being with thoughts and
Yeah.
emotions. And I think that identity crisis is the major thing a lot of people suffer from. I mean, even though you're not like Anthony Bourdain, Casey, but to
Mm,
some people you are. You know, to some people they look to your
I get it.
content, they look to the things that you do, and I think that's important. Is identify who you are. Is it just being happy with the things that you really enjoy doing, and if you really want to master a craft, make sure it's something you fucking appreciate and love.
Yeah. And I think that's the good exit way right there. I'm really happy and content. So that's my whole thing. I'm very content on what I do and whoever what space I'm in because I don't I could care less. I could care less. As long as I'm safe, as long as I'm doing me and I'm staying true to myself, bro, who gives a shit? Like who really gives a shit? And if you don't like my content, there's that swipe feature that you can kind of go through. That's how I always say it. It's really funny going into other people's content and seeing it. I'm just like, I don't like this. And then at some point you're like, should I comment saying I don't like this? Nah, why would I do that?
Because it's not made for you.
Just it's not made for me. So why am I taking my time to put down this person on my stupid little comment, or I can do the even faster method, swipe out it goes. I don't want it. I don't want to view it. Cool. Out it, just it's crazy to me.
Well,
People should have that discernment, I think.
it's a weird time in history where this is probably the first time where you people are more than willing to support content that they appreciate. And I think
Yes.
that's an insane thing that's never really happened before, but I also think it's an adjustment factor with how many things or content don't make it or don't last that you really appreciate and enjoy, all because of they're not making money or they're not getting support or they're not getting the like
Mhm.
shares or subscribes or anything like that. And then they end up just stopping because either they don't want to do it anymore or because the channel that they're on doesn't care for their content or their space anymore.
Yeah. It's a really fine balance. Let's just say you want to be able to again headspace, right? It's all about being content in that little realm too, not going too crazy that you're kind of like anxiously waiting for this big boom, and what if it never happens? That will kill. Like I can imagine that would really kill me if I were that person. Like, oh my god, I only gained one person today. How about tomorrow? Like what am I gonna do now? Like how long is it for me gonna take to make that dough on this? Or you can just go about your business, just make the content as you see fit. If people like it, cool. And if you're able to transition after, you're getting some monetary value, even cooler. Because I
Yeah.
think that's the main goal for it, right? So I don't know, man.
Life is ice
I
road
guess
truckers. You're driving along until that ice finally cracks from under you. Just how sensitive is the ice and how long until it eventually cracks. For everyone, it cracks. Cracking is death, basically. But
yeah.
depending it's death in your career or death or maybe birth into a new step into your life, it just depends on the way you view it.
hmm So it's nuts, man. So all everybody out there, if you're making content, bro, just keep doing it. Don't 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 fuck about the numbers. Don't worry about that. Like it'll be fine. It will literally be fine. Just keep on doing you. And hopefully you enjoy the process too. Like Rob and I have been at this for quite a bit. We've been at it for quite a while. I enjoy the process more than anything. I enjoy talking to people. I enjoy editing. I enjoy doing all facets of this. Um, and for me, that's enough. That really is enough. And I can still make my money doing what I primarily love, my bread and butter, which is cooking. And eventually, hopefully, I can transition into just cooking at my house and providing content that way. That way people can see the recipes and shit. But if it doesn't, that's okay too. I'll keep on doing me. And I think that's important. Like it can't be just there's no in between for me. It's fine. It's not a big deal.
Do you think you can make TikTok videos of cooking at home? That would take off.
Yeah, probably could. I mean, I already cook at home. A lot of people do it. It's the virality of it. That's how you gain the followers. That's
I
how you gain
watched a
the.
couple of your jacket videos where you're saying you need to put a
Yeah, I
pocket up
really want a
here.
jacket. Yo,
You just need a
I'm not even
kangaroo
fucking with
pouch
you.
jacket.
You know what it is? So when you're in the kitchen, since I wear an apron, right? It's this motion all the time. I need my pens and shit are right here. I'm right-handed, so I usually keep on the breast pocket. But since it's up and down, it's this motion. It's it's annoying. Like it sometimes even bothersome to do that. What if because your hand normally goes this way? What if it's just angled so I can take the pens out this way? Like little stupid shit. And on your actual arm, since the pen inserts are so far off, you're then reaching over.
Would have to have a
And it's
magnetic thing in it that could connect to a pen or something, because if you're moving around, that's going to slip right out of that downward angle.
yeah. I mean, maybe not
Unless it
so
was
much of a
sideways.
downward angle. Yeah, just a side, maybe an upward kind of thing. Because this would be more normal than to do anything,
You need a
or
goddamn
even
holster.
this. Yeah, that's what it is. And I really want pockets on the side of my fucking jacket. I really do. And then on my physical apron, like it makes my life easy. That's what I'm all prefacing this. Can somebody help me? I will pay the money for a professional to make me my own fucking jacket. Is that so hard? It's proving to be hard, Rob. I can't fucking find a tailor. You can't just go to like a regular tailor where the cleaners are, because that's a different tailor. That's alteration tailoring. They're just okay. I can cut some of this off. I can put it back. But like physically creating the piece of clothing that you're wearing, I need that kind of tailor, because that's what we're gonna get a blueprint out of, and then eventually transition that into a business.
It's already exhausting.
It's already exhausting. I love this shit. This is what grinds me every morning, like to make my life better. How can I get that process out? So right now I'm on this whole thing about my jacket. I will continue to keep making these videos until somebody reaches out to me that they're an actual physical tailor. Like, oh my God, thank you. Let's make this happen. And then obviously turn that into a business. And then on to the next thing. Whatever makes my life easier. Maybe I'm just Elon Musk on the jacket thing.
You're on the jacket
Making
frontier.
Yeah, on the jacket frontier, trying to make my life easier as a chef, right? And like the crazy thing about it, since we're such a small community, bro, I'm like, what's your size on like TikTok space? Where the fuck it is? What's your size? I'm sending you a jacket. Review this for free. It's yours. It's my name on it. I want you to function as you usually would in your restaurant space. Try out the fucking jacket. See if it's all the bells and whistles. Give me back with critique, because that's what I strive for, man. I want to make this as best as possible and make it easier for the younger cooks. Bro, I'm already 40, not 40. I'm nearing 40, and I can always. I've been wearing the same jacket for fucking 20 years, Rob. It's crazy. No one has thought to like make this better. Like that's what boggles my mind. Like why? There should be even a better coat, or maybe somebody that has fashioned themselves to make it better and make it easier for everybody else on like the newer generation. So that's how my brain works, man. I just want to make it better for everybody, but mostly for me.
Well, Casey, I appreciate you for doing my podcast again, man. Is there a place
Of
where
course,
people can
man.
find the Chef Salty?
Chef Salty Pork podcast streaming everywhere. I did start another podcast because I can,
Rush Hour.
the little small amount of fucking time I have, but with my other chef buddy, Chef Brandon, and that's called Breaking Bread podcast, and
What
that's
happened to Rush
literally
Hour?
well, Rush Hour is me and Sean. Is that Chef
Okay.
Salty Pork? Yeah, yeah. But we talk strictly specifically how to make it from cook to executive chef. Literally live tips. As the comments are, it's like a live kind of
Bake it until you
interaction.
make it.
Yeah, make it so we make it. And I'm just like, yeah. This is how you're gonna do it from that to this step, etc. I like we just want to make sure all the kids understand, what you're getting into as a chef. It's not all bells and whistles, and it's not just getting promoted to the position either. You need to know some XYZ before you get to that level. And I think a lot of people are skipping that notion. They just kind of want to call themselves chef without having the backup for it.
I got a catchphrase for you. Need salt.
Need salt.
Should be on a shirt. Need salt.
Needs salt.
like
Yeah,
got
no,
milk, but
I
in that lettering.
yeah, needs salt. Yo, I got it. I'm gonna make that. I'll make that shirt with like a hand seasoning this way.
Is there anything you want to let the people know out there before we wrap it up?
um,
Some
do your
motivation,
part
maybe.
to not get people dead. Okay.
That's a
I
fucking
know it's a whole
terrible
debate.
motivation. Quit.
It's a whole debate. Okay. If you can, if you personally, right,
Talk
if
about
you can
death.
prevent somebody's death, okay, I suggest you do it. If that means you have to wear a mask or take a fucking vaccine, I know you're
I
not
heard
political
death
in
was
this
the
way,
best cure for COVID.
but bro, it's not a you thing, it's a we thing, and it's a future thing, right? So if that makes it better for us as a whole, I think you should really highly consider it. That's it. I'm not telling you to do it. I'm just making your options
When
known
it
to you.
becomes the cure, sure.
Yeah, like be better for it. But if you don't want to take it, that's all you too. I'm just saying.
Just
I'm
don't
just
pull a
saying.
Howard Stern and say all the other shit that he said about people who are unvaccinated. That was terrible as shit.
Nah, I don't do that. I'm a big proponent of it's your own volition. If you feel that it's for you, cool. If it's not, that's okay. I'm not gonna go after you. I'm not that type of person. But me personally, I will tell you my stance on it, and I would like to be of use to the future generation by taking a vaccine and wearing a mask. So that's it. Nothing crazy. You can check out Rob though on this podcast fucking every day. Robbie Robertson on Out of the Black podcast. And
All
hopefully we get to do this again, man.
right. For sure. You started getting into the promos. I was like, all right, I'm wrapping that one up. Thanks for listening, everybody, and stay tuned for another episode of Out of the Blank.